Proverbs 14:4 says, "Where there's no oxen, the trough is clean, but much increase comes by the strength of the ox." In the ancient world, there was almost nothing that could rival the power of an ox for getting work done on a farm. If you wanted to break up new ground, you needed a team of oxen behind your plow. If you wanted to haul a heavy load, you didn't have an F-350. You had to have an ox, or oxen for plural. But the drawback of having oxen around is that they're big, stinky, messy. They literally leave piles of stinky mess laying around in the fields. There is something to be said for having a neat, clean workspace. Clean countertops and a well-organized, spotless desk. A clean workshop with every tool in its place and all the sawdust cleaned up. Those are good habits. But where there's work getting done, there are messes being made. It's not possible to do real manual labor to get, forget about manual labor. It's not possible to do any kind of work anywhere without making a mess. Not necessarily piles of dirt and stinky, but there are going to be rough edges. If you're writing software, if it's complicated, if it really does interesting, valuable things, then it's going to be a tangled mess by the time you're done. It's important to have systems in place to make sure that you are keeping things neat and clean as much as possible, because if you don't, if you're really getting the work done, it's going to be a nightmare for whoever has to follow you and maintain it in the future. But that's just the cost of getting real work done. Working man has calluses on his hands. He's got stains on his shirts. Eloquence is great. Being neat and tidy is great. Those are valuable things. But a completely sterile environment is lifeless. There is nothing happening. There is no chef in a perfectly clean kitchen. If your house, if the living room in your house is always spotless, then there's no children. There's no life there. So if you want to get things done in the real world, if you want things to happen in your life, you have to be okay with a little mess. You have to be okay with rough edges and working with people who don't always speak properly, who don't always wear the best clothes, who know how to get things done. Those are the people you really want. And sometimes it gets messy. So you just have to be okay with it, because if you're not, you're going to have a sterile, non-productive life. This is Jay Carper from American Toro. Be blessed.